Sounds good. You know what they say, if they're not crying, you're not teaching. All right. Ooh, I was recording that one. Okay, so do not, not good. Now again, like I just said, sometimes graphing's not the best due to the fact that you get a horrible intercept such as a fraction. Okay, sometimes they don't cross, at integral values, fractions, blah, blah, blah. So instead we do a little bit of algebra. Now today's method, we're going to keep it simple. We can get pretty cool and crazy. We totally can. I'll show you a few things like, wow, Mr. Spark, you're amazing. And I say, yes, I know. But the point is we actually have another method we'll teach you on Tuesday for the harder ones. And you'll probably go to that method more because it's like easy. Okay? But this one works well for some typical questions. What we want to do is do substitution. So we would say x plus 2 equals 3, and somewhere I'd say, x equals 4, and then you'd put that in and say, 4 plus 2 equals 3, 4 plus 2 is 6, equals 3, like, what? Wrong. And so you'd know that 4 is not a point. We're doing the same idea, not so much as a check, but we want to figure out what x equals or what y equals, and then substitute those into an equation. One at a time. So, what you want to do is you want to work with something that's easy, like this equation. The reason why it's easy is there's a 1 coefficient. There's a 1 coefficient. It's super easy. So let's turn this one into x equals. What does x equal? Move 1 to the other side. You're adding or subtracting to move things. Yeah, so it'd be 2 minus y. Or, yeah, sure, you can say x equals negative y plus 2, right? Your choice. Your choice on that, okay? Doesn't matter. So, that's what it says here. Isolate one variable in either equation. Try to avoid fractions. You'll see that once in a while. It's not good to do, okay? And to avoid them, you would use something with a 1 coefficient in front, okay? So we have x equals 2 minus y. What we want to do then is substitute this into the other equation. Don't forget the B word. Write it large, write it huge. Brackets. If you're not using brackets, you're going to screw this up. You won't get right answers. Okay. So the equation is 2x minus y equals 7. And now I'm changing y. So I get 2, and then bracket 2 minus y. Minus y equals 7. So I just changed the x. Okay. And y brackets are important because you have to multiply incorrectly. 4 minus 2y. Okay. That's super important. Minus y equals 7. Good. Now I want you to solve for y. Solve for y. So 4 minus 3y equals 7. Nope, negative 2 minus 1. So I'm combining like terms. So negative 3y equals 3, y equals negative 1. Then what we're going to do, now there's a few things, there's options after this. You can go simple, you can go crazy. I'm going to go simple first and show you some crazy stuff after. Okay? You want to substitute the solution to either one of the equations. And I'll show you both answers. So 2x minus y equals 7. You can then put it into this equation. Or the other equation, x plus y equals 2, will also work. So at this point, you have to make a choice which one to use. Either will get you the correct answer, and that's why I'm doing both. Okay? So I'm going to get 2x minus, bracket, negative 1, Yes, you should use them there. And here we get x plus bracket -1 equals 2. Super careful, right? So, solve for x. Go. No, quit chewing on the carrot. Solve for x. Hop along, little bunny. Let's go. Solve for x. 2x equals 6. Good. And x equals perfect. Okay. Or the other one, x minus 1 equals 2, x equals 3. Now, which one would have been easier to use? Left or the right? Yeah, the right one. Does it matter? No. So keep that in mind. Your friend, your partner might do different work, still get the same answers. Okay, so you do have choices here. And I haven't shown you all the other choices and the cool stuff we can do, because you don't need all that stuff. What's the answer to the solution, though? That was dumb. What's the solution to the system? What's your x value? What's your y value? -1. So that's actually the answer. Okay, don't forget that. You need to find an x and a y. It's a point. You need both parts for your answer. Okay, your answer is more than just one number. Okay, questions. Ask them. What do you guys think? Yeah. Yep.
Is it any harder than this?
Yes and no. What I mean by that is there's a couple things you have to be careful of, and then I can show you some cool things on the board. Don't have to use them, okay? But some people is like, wow, that's kind of neat. So that's why I show it to you. And again, Tuesday you'll learn a different method, which makes everything easy, okay? Any other questions? Yeah.
Why were you learning this method if there's an easy?
Because sometimes for the simple questions, you'll just do this because it's that easy, right? And it'd be actually a little more work to do the other one. And also because I specifically ask you on a quiz to do the different methods. And that's so that I know you have the skills. Because what they'll say is they'll say something like, where's the first mistake? Is this work correct? Right? So that's why they're trying to force you to know everything. Okay? It's like their parents. Okay, continuing on then. Hey, I don't need to know the personal stuff. Okay, 2x equals y. Which one should we substitute? Should we change all this one around and get y equals -4x divided by 6 plus 48 divided by 6? Does it make sense to do all this crazy work? No. Why? Yeah, you know what y equals. Just do a quick substitution. So 4x plus 6 bracket 2x equals 48. Go ahead and solve. Tell me your x value, then find your y value. See what you can do. Now you guys, looking ahead, which equation is the simplest one to find your y value with? Top one. So use it, right? Unless I'm telling you use the harder equation, use a simple one. 2x equals y, so 2 times, and in brackets, 3 equals y, so 6 equals y. What's this? Well, yep, go ahead.
I'm going to ask, is there going to be a point where you give us 2 and you have to pick one?
Yeah, you'll have choices to pick all the time, right? Like you could have done that hard work I did. I never would, but you could have. Okay, so you do have to kind of know, keep it simple. Okay, so what's the solution? Right, it says solve. What's the solution? Jordan? 3, 6. Don't forget brackets. Put it in a box so I can find it and mark it right. Otherwise, I just might not see it. Any questions? Okay, turn it over. A couple little more things to look at here. Yeah. A little bit harder, okay? But let's, should we work with the top one or the bottom one? What do you guys think? Totally, right? Like it's x by itself with a 1 coefficient. Woohoo! Party time. So what does x equal? Good. 9 minus 6y. Thank you. Okay. What should I do next? Well, I got 3x minus 2y equals negative 23. So, substitute in. Don't forget to use brackets. Go. See what you can do. Okay, so for your fraction, hopefully you put in lowest terms, simplify that double negative signs. Any questions?
Yeah.
What's that?
Where did the 50 come from?
How do you move a plus 27? And so what's negative 23 minus 27? No, okay, be careful with your signs with this stuff. It's really specific. So the first thing you should check is make sure you didn't screw up on any sign stuff, okay? Don't like decimals, fractions are good, okay? For half, it's not a big deal, but if it's like 2/3, well, what are you going to put? Well, exactly, right? So the correct answer would be 0.6 repeated, and 0.7 is second best. The problem is you can't do anything now with your decimal, okay? So we have a bit of a problem. There's two things. You do have a fraction. It's not the end of the world. What we could do is do double substitution. Okay, now I'm just going to show you this. Don't write this down, but check this out. We're going to do this in a couple days. I multiply this entire equation by 3, and I get 3x plus 18y equals 27. Pretty cool. I just multiplied everything by 3. Why would I do that? Because this equation can change to 3x equals 2y minus 23. So I move my 2y to the other side. Now check out your substitution. Look how cool this is. The whole thing gets changed. So instead of 3x, I write down 2y minus 23 plus 18y equals 27. So that's some cool stuff. You'll see that once in a while that you can do that. All right? Yep.
This might be stupid, but how did you get rid of 3x?
Okay, I didn't get rid of it. I know from this one that the value of 3x is the second part. And so I'm changing this to what it equals. So this is replacing it. Okay? It's a kind of a weird thing. We haven't done anything like that before, okay? Now, G?
How do you know you lost multiply by if you want any other number?
Well, why would I multiply by any number other than 3?
Where did you get 3 from?
Oh, because I saw, hey, if I multiply this by 3, I would have 3x and they'd be the same. Or I can multiply this one by 2 and this one by 6. What would be my x's then? 6x and 6x, right? If they're the same, you can do a substitution. That's some pretty intense stuff, okay? You're not going to see a lot of that. You won't see that on our worksheets today. Maybe I'll throw that at you on a quiz for, the toughest question. Maybe the toughest question on a test. Okay? Maybe. Okay. So, ignore that. Let's get going here. Now what you could also do, since you know the value of y, substitute it in. And you're going to need some help with that. Which equation do you want to use? The top one or the bottom one? Bottom. Let me erase this first. Okay, so we're going to use the bottom equation. X plus 6y equals 9. And then we're going to substitute in the 5 over 2 for y. So we get x plus 6 times 5 over 2 equals 9. Don't be scared of that. It'll be okay. What's 6 divided by 2? 3. So you can cancel out to a nice number. And then you can get x plus 15. X plus 15 equals 9. And so x equals -6. Okay. X equals -6. The solution, though, is what? -6, comma, 5 over 2. Okay. Questions? I wouldn't ask you to graph it because we did the algebra. And that's why we did the algebra, is because graphing that wouldn't be accurate. It'd be hard to find the exact answer. Yeah.
Would it matter if we switched the placement of 5 over 2 and the -6?
Yeah, because that would change it from right here to like down here, right? There's a big difference between those 2 points because those are x and y values.
Yeah, so technically we should be graphing it. But
Well, you could I mean, you could. You totally could, but you don't need to. Okay. All right. Next one. Looks hard, doesn't it? Let's get rid of our fractions, and it's going to be super easy. What's the LCM, or the lowest or common denominator, for 2/3 and 1/3? 3. So what we're going to do is get rid of the fractions by multiplying each term by 3. So we get 3 times 2/3 times x equals 3 times 1/3 y minus 3 times 1. Now some of you are really good at this and know exactly what the answer will be. You should know that we're doing this to cancel our denominators. Okay. And so we're left with 2x equals 3y minus 3. Okay. So multiplying the fractions. And yes, Harj. You know what? I did the exact same thing last class. 1y. Okay, so each one cancels to 1 and 1. Okay. Good. What should we multiply the bottom one by? The problem is the 4 wouldn't cancel completely. Multiply it all by 4. Okay. So you go ahead and do that, please. Okay, so I look at the red one. I get 2y plus 4 equals -x. Any questions with that? So let's make this positive x. How do I get rid of that negative sign? Divide by -1. Divide the entire side by -1. And we get -2y minus 4. Okay. No big deal. Okay. So now we're going to take this and substitute it into the top equation. And you could have done a different substitution. You totally could have, right? You had your choices there. Okay, so I get -1 equals y. Hands up if you got that. Okay. Now find your x value. Okay. So I'm going to substitute into the top one, just because I feel like it. So 2x equals 1 minus 3. No, -1 minus 3. So -4. X equals -2. So the solution is -2, comma, -1. Hands up if you got that. Okay. Some hard math, a lot of things you gotta be super, super, super careful of. All right. So here's a very typical question. Is the point 5, comma, -1 the solution to the following system? What we need to do then is we need to do a check. So we have an x value of 5 and a y value of -1. We have to substitute into the equations. So this would become 2 times 5 minus 3 times -1 equals 13. Go ahead, see if you can find the answer. And don't fall for the trick. Hands up if you think it's a solution. How come no one's hands up? Oh. How many lines did you guys check? One. Huh. Last time I looked, there's 2. Don't just check one, you gotta check them both. Because you're right, 10 plus 3 is 13, and that equals 13. So for this line, yep, that works. But does it work for the other line? 5 minus 2 times -1 equals 3. 5 plus 3, 8 equals 3? What? No. The point is not the solution. Harge. Oh, you're right, I added, didn't I? Thanks. Plus 2, 7. Okay. So point is not the solution. Always, always, always check both lines. Okay, it's a very common mistake because you haven't done it before. Okay.